Hi there, this is Janet Gershon-Siegel, and I'm the Lonely Writer. This is serious social media help for the independent author. The independent author is defined as a writer who does not yet have an agent. All this month I've been doing daily prompts for NaNoWriMo. These prompts are in a mixed up order, and the concept behind them is for you to double back, do a few of them twice, skip around, flip the script, look at them once the month is over. If you prefer, go crazy, do what you will with them. Now today's prompt is a two-word phrase, and the phrase is too much. So the question, of course, is what is too much? What do we mean when we say something is too much? And the first thing that came to my mind was good old TMI, too much information. You really don't want to hear about your parents' sex lives. And there's an old expression, people who love the law and sausages should never watch either of them being made. And I got to tell you, I'm down with both of those. No question, you really don't want to know. You know, it's the man behind the curtain. You don't want to see him waving. You don't want to know about that. And part of that, of course, is the suspension of disbelief, or rather the lack of it. So that suspension of disbelief kind of comes crashing down sometimes when you get too much information. But it's also a bit about satiety, about satisfaction or oversatisfaction, being sated, having too much, buying too much, owning too much. Consider this. If I lived alone, let's say, for instance, and I bought enough food for 50 people, and I did it on a weekly basis, not just maybe once, but, and if I did it once, maybe I would have my neighbors come in, or family or friends or something to help me get rid of it, or maybe I would find some way to store it, or maybe I would give it to charity, or maybe I'd just discard it. But if I'm doing it on a regular basis, then what's really going on here? I mean, I'm going to be swimming in it pretty soon. And that kind of leads me to there's an actual condition. I don't know if it's really specifically called this, but once you've heard the term, you know what I'm talking about. And it's called Collier's Mansion. And what that is hoarding. When you see a place where you can barely stand up and you can barely turn around, and there's stacks and stacks of paper, and there's old takeout boxes and whatever, and it's all sorts of junk, it's garbage, it's things that really should have been discarded a long time ago, and people are retaining that stuff. You can have very much a hoarding situation, and it's a sign of certain kinds of mental illness. Too much is also, it's about abundance. It's not just a negative. So some of it is about just the years of plenty. Your pastures of plenty. So there are when you've had lean years in particular. So here's the question also: is this a relative term? If you've had a lot of lean years, if you've had scarcer times, then what feels like too much to you might be different from what's too much to me if I'm used to plenitude. So if you give me, I don't know, 2 ounces of it doesn't matter what it is, of something, and I say, oh, that's not enough, it's a scarcity, and somebody who's not used to having even 1 ounce of whatever it is we're talking about, and they get 2 ounces of it, for them it might feel very much like too much. They may feel like they're swimming in whatever this mysterious article is, and it's not even necessarily food. Now, if we flip that script a little bit more, sort of like, what is plenty? What does it really mean? That is such a relative and vague kind of a term. It can truly mean anything. So for people who are utterly starving, folks who are skeletal, then 2 ounces of something to eat, whatever it is, could seem like the biggest feast ever. And too much can also mean that we're overdoing something, or you can even say it to somebody, if someone is a little too free with the way they speak, and maybe they don't have a filter, you can say, oh, you're just too much. It's just too much. So the question is, of course, when do you cross that line? And once you've crossed it, I think a lot of people know when they have. And finally, once again, my name is Janet Gershon-Siegel, and I'm the Lonely Writer, because an independent writer never has to be alone. Thank you so much for listening, and good luck with NaNoWriMo.